will the demand be matched by what's being supplied right now? Actually, in a lot of areas, I think all of you will know that we're seeing a lot of residential supply. Okay, on one hand, that's a good thing. It's good to see new developments coming through. But where is the demand coming from for all of that supply? We have to be very cautious on that point. The key, in my mind, to be able to go forward successfully on something the scale of Iskander is to attract new business. It's very, very important that new business comes here. It's fantastic that all of us can own a condominium in the sky that has lots of facilities. But no one will live in there unless there is new business. I've talked many times about population growth, ranging from 1.7 million or something now up to 2.5 million. People cannot just come to live, they have to come to work as well. So we need to find ways of encouraging and incentivizing business. Now, I cheated a little bit. I've got a slide. Let me show you the slide. You might not be able to read it because it's a bit hazy, but let's try. In the middle it says, Iskander for business investors. Well, all of these factors around here are what a business investor will look for as the basic fundamentals before he invests in his business, in any location, anywhere in the world. Okay? Now actually, when I go around this very briefly, just think about it as a private investor. So even the private investor will have to see these factors as well. So although I've called it the business investor viewpoint, I think every private investor, where you're going to buy a small condominium or a big bungalow or a villa, you will also have to make sure that these fundamentals make sense. So we talk about planning. Well, again, that has to be demand-driven planning. I've seen all over Asia and the Middle East township plans. I've seen 100-story buildings on a painting, a picture, a graphic, a township plan, massive high-rise buildings with F1 tracks running around and helicopters landing on top of the buildings. Do you think that's real? Where in the world can we support that type of development? It looks very sexy to the guy that drew it. He's an architect or he's a master planner. They like drawing big, sexy buildings. And government people like to see these beautiful pictures. But in reality, where in the world can the economy support such high-rise developments? Common sense. You must remember, I sell common sense. And common sense is not very common. Almost a laugh there. So, demand-driven master planning, not grandeur, pretty picture master planning. Infrastructure, absolutely vital, and that's what we've done fantastically well in Iskander. The coastal highway, the power plants, the water provision. Bit of a problem with some of the power distribution. I won't go into too much detail, but I do not like high-rise, high-tension power cables. Have you ever been to Legoland?
Yeah.
When you go to Legoland, the first thing you see now is electrical cables up in the air before you even see Legoland. So that should all have been buried underground if there was proper planning. So, back to one side, infrastructure is very important. We have transport with the new rail crossings coming up, we have the coastal highway, we have the utility provisions and expansion. So that's a good fundamental. The other part of infrastructure is social infrastructure. We need healthcare, we need education, and we need affordable housing. Now there is evidence of that being provided. Gleneagles Hospital, mind you, it's only a small amount of people that can afford to go to Gleneagles Hospital. So we have to provide for mid-tier healthcare as well as affordable healthcare. Incentives, go knocking on the door of Iskander. Keep reminding them that they have to give you incentives, because that's what it's all about. Business will not come here just because it's nice. business will not come here just because it's a little bit cheaper than Singapore. There has to be a lot more to support new business. It is not the responsibility of private sector to bring new business into a new development region. It is the responsibility of the government to incentivize and bring new business into a new development region. The government. And if they do so, everyone will benefit. Everyone. And talking about government, of course, to do a development region of this size, this says government to government. And I've used government to government because a significant partner in the success of Iskander is Singapore, our neighbours in Singapore. Right? We need to respect the growth of Singapore. If you understand the growth of Singapore, their constraint is land, and it's too expensive. We are very, very fortunate that we can set up our stall right next to Singapore. We cannot fail if we do it right. Okay? So I think if we think about business development, infrastructure development, and who we are going to attract to come here as business, we should think about how does it fit alongside Singapore. Simple equation, the headquarters of any bank, Citibank or Apple Asia will be in Singapore. The support space and processing can be in Iskander. And that's a coexistence. And that's what Singapore want. They only want the headquarters. And it's only the headquarters that can afford Singapore. So the support space comes over here, and that's great because it frees up more land in Singapore for more high-value add business. And we get lots of good quality commercial office space over here. If we get quality commercial space over here, that means people. That means people that can rent these apartments that you're busy buying at the moment. So business equals people, people equals sustaining the property market in Iskander. Economic growth is the starting point. In any development region, anywhere in the world, there must be signs and evidence of economic growth. We're very fortunate, we're in Asia. I'm from Scotland. Scotland is very difficult to develop anything at the moment. We don't have much money. We've got a crisis still over there. Asia is a growth area, so we are in the right place at the right time. The bottom one here, good governance. We need to see consistency. I'm not against all of these changes. Is that the end of my speech? It's my time up. Sorry, did I say something about the government? All of the recent changes in the budget and the moving around of the regulations and the capital gains tax and the minimum purchase levels, really, I'm not against any of those changes. And you'll never get them 100% right. There's always somebody that says, oh, yep, that's okay, and somebody says, no, it's not okay. What I'm against is the timing of it. It is quite wrong for the government to be introducing any changes right now. That is the problem. You know what that does, those changes? It allows your neighbours in Singapore to go, oh yeah, like that, huh? Keep changing, you know, flip-flop policy. How to invest in there, huh? So, consistency is very important. The whole of this year of 2013, we have fantastic consistency and confidence in Iskander. Temasek coming to work with Khazanah in Medini. The coastal highway. The Glen Eagles Hospital is under construction. The universities, 2 already up and running. The 3rd is under construction. Fantastic confidence. Marlborough College is the best international school in Asia. All the Guaylo can come and live here with their children. That's a great sign. They will come and they will bring business. But then we go and play around with policies and law changes. I'm a bit hurt by that. I think it's a timing issue, and it's a bit problematic. It all comes under the heading of good decision making and good governance. Okay, I think I'll stop there. That's why.
Okay, thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Right. since the issue of timing and good governance comes into the picture, let's ask our panel of speakers what they think about the recent budget 2014. Mr. Samuel, what's your thoughts? Is it friendly and conducive for businesses, big businesses, SMEs, or entrepreneurs? So what's in it for them?
Well, I think the Prime Minister about 2 hours or 3 hours to talk, and KK has given me maybe a couple of minutes to summarize. That's a very major injustice. But I can basically summarize a few sectors which are related to Iskandar Malaysia and which Iskandar Malaysia can benefit. Among them, which the Prime Minister has launched are the service sector blueprint, namely the logistic, aviation and tourism sector. These three sectors are directly related to Iskandar Malaysia, and if they are implemented, for example, the National Aviation Centre can make JOHOE as the main gateway for people to come into Iskandar Malaysia because of our ports, and our proximity to Singapore, and also our international airport, both in Senai and Singapore. In terms of tourism, now I want to go a little bit on tourism because there are a lot of incentive. Apart from the hotel incentive, the 4-star and 5-star incentive which has been given to the 4-star and 5-star incentive has now been extended until the year 31st of December 2016. So it's gone 2 years later. They are given pioneer status and investment tax allowance for application applied for to MIDA from next year, the 1st of January until 31st of December of 2016 for Special Tourism Infrastructure Fund. Now, about 2 billion ringgit will be allowed for soft loan with a special interest for particular purposes. Those who are in the hotel line, remember this. This is for financing of building infrastructure, for theme park, for purchasing and replacing of equipment, and also anything relating to tourism. So tourism is the important thing. There are also certain about 50 million or so allocated for advertisement and promotion. In terms of logistics, there are also other things. There are so many things which are involved. SME, for example, the government has SME, for example, the government has came in with additional fund, 120 million ringgit for integrated packaging to increase innovation and productivity for SME. Incentives under the Green Lane policy program for financing, tax incentive and procurement, including subsidy or special interest rate, stamp duty incentive, or for loan agreement under soft loan incentive. So there are many things. If you go through the budget speech, there are many things involved, but most of the time, well, for me, for example, I don't even bother to listen to all this. All I wanted to know was, how's the RGBT like? How is the personal income tax like? How is the corporate tax like? But actually, there are final point which will affect business. Go into those aspects and you realize directly or indirectly, you will affect you.
Okay, thank you, Samuel. So, there's this mention of space available, infrastructure. So maybe Michamado, from your experience with Erda and the promoted sector right now, I mean we heard about Jaya and Madini. So what are exactly some of these available spaces and services that encourage businesses to actually come in? What are some of the promoted sectors that potential business owners that might be sitting here can look into possible exploring? And who are some of these agencies that they can turn to for such inquiries?
Basically, the first incentive as relative is from the government. If you notice infrastructure, nearly 3 to 5 billion worth of infrastructure. This is very important. Second thing is security. The government increased the manpower, the police, the auxiliary police, and then the immediate impact in the last 3 years was the universities. 10 years ago, we have only one university. Now we have more than 20 universities within this kind of nation, and nearly more than 5 or 6 operating universities in Madinah saja alone. The second biggest industry coming up is the healthcare, clinic, Columbia Asia, and the third sector up and coming are the hotels industries. You have no traders. You have the Legoland Hotel, and in city center you have the 4-star, Doubletree, and a few more. So these are some of the incentives given and provided by the government. And then the up and coming are the creative industry. What is lagging behind now is logistics, and the financial industries. So but all these industries are for the big boys. Now for individuals, I still believe investment in property is still the best. With the recent budget in the layman's term, the impact is only minor. Once the individual or the investor understand, those days you might make 100% profit, but now it's only 80%, but you still make the profit. But I think the impact is very minimal. After 2 months or 3 months, people realize that business is back to normal. Right? So these are the initial initiatives given by the government. Thank you.
Any agencies or authorities that aspiring entrepreneurs or business owners can turn to for more information? What are some of these agencies that are available?
There's a few at the federal level, like MDEC, SMEs through the banks. As mentioned by Samuel, the government is allocating a few billion for small industries. And then the biggest is through ILDA, the economic incentive. If you are in the 6 sectors, plus the 2 additional, environment and biotechnology, you will be assisted with incentive. For foreigner, there are the 15% knowledge worker. You have to be a minimum degree holder and reside in Iskandar, Malaysia. But if you decided to buy properties in Madinah, we believe you won't be affected by the tax. So these are some of the advantages being a foreigner investing in Madinah alone. In general, there are some incentive for Iskandar, Malaysia. Iskandar, Malaysia, flagship, Madinah. So 3 different level of incentive given by the government. And mind you, in Madinah is the best incentive economic zone in Malaysia. You never have that even in KL, Penang, Kuching or Labuan or in KK. Madinah is the best incentivized area currently until 2015, 2016 and until 2020 if we are operational. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Mano. Now, there is mention of talent and human capital being one of the essential components of any businesses. And Keith, I understand that you are actually in Malaysia as part of the Talent Corp program. So maybe could you share with us a little bit in terms of where or how, as a foreigner, whereby we can attract the right expertise to help businesses locally, and what are some of the programs that are available to help local businesses attract talent into this Iskandar region?
Yeah, okay, I'll help from the so-called foreigner perspective. If all these incentives that you've identified were so attractive, and as you said in your own words, it's the best in Malaysia, why isn't there so many foreigners here? Where are they? I think from a development and a master plan point of view, the bit in the equation that's missing is that there isn't a big enough critical mass of business and new business being attracted here. It can only get kick-started in business. These incentives that we know about in ERDA, etc., are okay, but they don't work until big business comes here. Now let me give you some, I'm not just going to be negative, right? Let me give you a couple of positives first of all. The first positives have been tremendous for Iskandar, and particularly Nusajaya, where you've got the UK universities. Why would you have Newcastle, Southampton and Reading universities, top grade universities from UK? Why would you have Marlborough College, the best school in Asia? Why is it there? Well, it's there because the government were right at the beginning. They were very good at the beginning in that they did what's called leaseback arrangements. So if you want quality education in this example, as a government, you have to provide the land and you have to build the buildings for those universities, and then you will get world-class operators, and that world-class operator will then lease it back from you over 20 years. It's called a leaseback arrangement. So that's how you incentivize. Well, it's bigger than incentivize. That's how you pay quality to come here. You must, as a government, provide for the new businesses to come here. If I was Mr. Najib with a new MP here, I'd be going straight to Singapore and I would buy Prudential Life Support back of house services, I would buy Visa card, I would buy Standard Chartered Bank, I would buy any big Singtel, and I would offer all those bosses a free piece of land in Iskandar, and I would fund the building of their building, and then they would lease it back from me for 25 years. So I know how to get 3,000 or 4,000 people here. Why doesn't our government?
That's it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as some of you may already be aware, there is a city transformation program that is already underway for Johor Bahru. And right now, you notice there are a lot of exciting developments happening all over. That is why for this iPAC, we keep it as an exciting city in the making. So before we wrap up, how about some of your opinions? What are some of the exciting developments, both for yourself or for the general public? What can we look out for 2014 and beyond? Maybe we start with Samuel.
I think one of the most look out for thing